I call this story Communication is Critical, and here's why. In 2010, I was invited to work with a small team in Hilliard, Ohio, to improve the changeover time and overall safety of the changeover on one of their main fabrication lines. So during the week, the team identified tons of great improvement ideas and was able to implement many of them. But they also identified some things that they couldn't implement without the help of an electrician. The electrician they wanted the help from was named Steve, and Steve worked on night shift. So we wanted to communicate with Steve what we wanted him to implement for us overnight so that we'd have the benefit of it the morning when we came in. So two of the team members put together an email describing all the changes that they wanted Steve to create overnight for us. Reading through the email, we noticed that there were some things that left some questions in our head. And try as we might, we couldn't describe everything that we wanted and what might happen if there were questions from Steve, the electrician. So, being the one traveler on the team and knowing that my hotel was 2 miles or less from the factory, I volunteered to meet with Steve when he came in for his shift, review the email with him, answer any questions he might have, and then when he was ready to go, I'd go back to the hotel and get some rest. Seemed like a good idea. So the team agreed, nobody else wanted to stay. So I stayed at the plant and Steve came in around 10:15. At that point, I went to meet him. I introduced myself. I explained about the email and the critical work that the team was doing, and that I was there to try to answer any questions that he might have about the email. Once we were done, I could go back to the hotel and get some rest. Well, as it turns out, our email was not as clear as we thought it was, and certainly Steve had no context for what we were asking of him except in the email. So what we realized was we needed to answer those questions and verify what we were seeing out on the factory floor, what we call Gemba, the place that work is done. So Steve and I went out there. I was committed to it because I was the only one that had seen the things the team had done earlier in the day. And we took measurements, we answered questions, we tried things out. And by about 1:15 in the morning, we were done, or at least I was. And this was a new record for me as I had been in the plant since 6 a.m. that morning. Overnight, Steve now was able to make all the changes we had asked for, and we learned an extremely valuable lesson about clear communication. We got a better appreciation that just simply writing a document and sending an email out of context is not nearly as important as having that face-to-face conversation and verification out on the factory floor. I'm proud to say that in all my years of running events such as this, that is still my record, and I don't intend to break it in the future. I hope this story provided you with some inspiration to revisit your own processes. I have a lot more I'd like to share. Head over to pi-partners.com to learn how I can help. And check back from time to time for more Kaizen stories.